Hello and welcome to the HEXUS Week in Tech. I'm Scott Baceno. The big launch of the week was Morstown, or as it's now called, the Atom Z6XX series, which represents the first chip made by Intel that's small and low power enough to be used in a handheld device. Currently, pretty much all mobile phones use chips based around the microarchitecture and instruction set designed by UK company ARM. But Morstown is essentially a miniature version of Intel's PC processors, using Intel architecture and the x86 instruction set. So this represents a seismic shift for the mobile phone sector. Or does it? Right now, there are no phones available containing Morstown, and there are unlikely to be any until next year. Furthermore, while Intel has done a great job of creating a processor that requires far less power than even the Atom, it's still questionable how competitive it is in that respect compared to ARM-based chips like Qualcomm Snapdragon and Nvidia's Tegra. Intel made a point of stressing this is just the first stage in its smartphone processor ambitions. A lower powered chip codenamed Medfield is expected to be launched next year, and that Morstown will start appearing in iPad-like Slate devices before the end of this year. So while you can be sure the ARM ecosystem will be paying close attention to this launch, we think it's in slates and tablets that Morstown is likely to have its greatest impact. Funnily enough, this is the market that Nvidia has targeted for its latest Tegra chip, so it looks like the two companies will be continuing their ancient PC rivalry in the mobile space. Good old Apple just can't seem to stay out of the news these days, and mainly for the wrong reasons. At the end of last week, CEO Steve Jobs published his thoughts on why Apple doesn't support Adobe's Flash in the iPhone operating system. There were many perfectly viable justifications for Apple's stance, and many commentators have subsequently noted that Apple should be allowed to do what it wants with its own property. But that rationale doesn't apply to companies of exceptional size and influence. When a company and its products reach a certain level of ubiquity, how it behaves can have far-reaching effects and ultimately restrict consumer choice. The news that regulatory authorities are considering looking into Apple's decision not to allow apps developed on platforms like Adobe Flash is a byproduct of Apple's success. They probably wouldn't have even bothered a year ago. Lastly, Microsoft's faltering efforts to make more of a mark in the mobile phone market appear to have taken another misstep this week. The software giant announced the pricing for its own branded handset, the Kin, and it costs a similar amount to most other high-end smartphones. That would be fine if the Kin wasn't a relatively low-spec device aimed at the youth market. While we're always in favour of products deriving their name from our favourite obscene adjective, we feel that Microsoft's missed an opportunity to make an impact in the smartphone market by offering a product that's just too Kin expensive. That was your HEXUS Week in Technology. Make sure you join us for the next one.